those moments that make you stop in your tracks? A stranger saying words that feel plucked from your own thoughts? A sudden rush of calm when you were sure the world was caving in? Or maybe a song playing right when your heart aches for comfort? Listeners, it has happened with me several times through nature, sometimes through technology, through humans, through people. Most of us write these off as coincidence. I have done it. But what if they are not? What if the universe is alive, not just around you, but with you, constantly whispering, nudging, and guiding? Welcome back, listeners, to Cosmic Conference. I'm your host, Sana, and today for this episode, we are going to dive into this very idea that every single thing, the rocks, the wind, your emotions, even the random events, carries a vibration, a message, a sign meant for you. And my guest today knows about listening to life's whispers because she's lived through the kind of silence that can break you. And still, she found her way back. She went from running a multi core wellness business to watching it collapse, facing crushing debt, her marriage on the edge, her son's autism diagnosis, all at once. She rebuilt not from a book or a weekend retreat, but from the raw, messy, unfiltered trenches of her life. And from that, she created the Ayurvedic method, helping people reclaim their power even in the darkest storms. And she's here to share not just her story, but how you can begin hearing and trusting the subtle signals of the universe. And yes, we are also going to step into the intriguing space where spirituality meets the paranormal because sometimes the whispers come from the places we can't quite explain. So, listeners, meet my incredible, lovely guest, Mridula Agarwal. So, Mridula, welcome to the show, and I'm really so excited for this conversation.
Thank you so much, Sana. It's lovely to be here, and thank you for such a warm welcome. I'm also incredibly looking forward to the discussion now.
Absolutely. And Mridula, I used to believe these are coincidences. Um, but I remember it's a kind of an interaction from my childhood. My I was sitting with a few family friends. At that time they were quite young, so
Hmm.
the guy was into a bit of spiritual exploration, and for the first time he had explained to me the concept of deja vu, that
Hmm.
sometimes you feel that this particular conversation, moment, even, just a random, happening or occurrence has happened with you before.
True.
And then gradually with the many interactions, I,
Hmm.
came to understand more about how um, our spirits, our soul, it's an energy and it is traveling across different timelines and planes.
Hmm.
I never had that idea to do a scientific deep dive into it, but there have been many researches and conversations around it.
Hmm.
And there have been happenings where, and this has been very recent. So I sometimes, have the habit. I used to have this habit of practice of walking my way back from my office to my home, because it's just 3 kilometers. So I used to think, okay, let me just test my endurance, whether
Hmm.
I'm able to walk or not 3 kilometers.
Hmm.
So that was one evening when I was walking, and there was this stray dog that followed me very religiously till the way back to my home. Uh, so there's a grocery shop, just nearby my house.
Hmm.
Or okay, this dog has really helped me to walk back safely to my house. So let me, just feed him something. And I went back to buy something, but then when I came out, I didn't see him.
Hmm.
I mean, to me, it was very, very strange. It was interesting, strange. I asked my mother, I asked a few of my friends. My mother couldn't explain. One of my friend told me he was just looking for a safe home, a safe house. He thought, you are a good companion to him, so that's why he followed you. But then I did some, like researching on internet.
Mhm.
I don't know. And then I have these sometimes very unusual dreams. When I kind of, see something, and then uh following that dream, something happens that it kind of, is kind of a similar, there are similarities between that event and the dream I had in
Yeah.
early morning. uh,
Mm.
I mean, that is very, very strange. So there are so many situations like these happening. And I don't know, why do we feel like it's coincidence, but sometimes we do doubt our own perception. So how how do you explain all this, Madhula? Is it like with people with special, like they are sensitive, or with special abilities, or it happens with everyone, every human?
It happens with everyone, but someone who is ESP, like extra sensitive perception,
Mm-hmm.
which can also be trained, uh, it is more evident. And those people who are far more empathetic, they are paying closer attention. They can observe a slight shift
Mm-hmm.
in energy, in the emotion of the place. They they can decode it better because they have felt, or they have seen the clue to totality.
Mm.
Um, like all of us, I'm pretty sure, growing up, have had this experience that we would all be sleeping, and somehow we would have a dream of falling through a stair, or falling
Yeah.
through the sky, and our bodies would literally jerk,
Yes.
and we would hold on to the side of the bed. So, oh my god, I'm gonna fall. And that's like a virtual reality game, because our mind could be in a different space. We
Mhm.
could be astrally traveling. We could plain be dreaming. Now, that's a mix. Okay. That's a mix up. We usually are not able to decode, but we know that our brain, our perception is very, very powerful in creating illusions, in giving us cues to draw certain dots. Then, of course, there are cultures, that all of us believe that randomly gods and goddesses and angels, we are being all watched over, which is true, which is a fact. And they come to us in the right moments to aid us, like that
Mm.
dog.
Yeah.
And we don't know in that moment. Like our mind is constantly looking for proof. Am I dreaming? Is it my perception? Is it an illusion? Is it me just cooking up stories in my head? Maybe it was just a coincidence.
Mm.
And that's where your intuition and your instinct and your intellect, it starts, having a war within. So your intuition may say, this was not a coincidence. It really happened. I felt it. Like so many times people have had experiences where, someone came to them and said something in a dream. Maybe a loved one who has departed already, or maybe someone they were planning to meet and they got to know ahead of time that there has been a shift in schedule. Has it never happened that you thought I'll go to attend this appointment and somehow you had a feeling maybe it's going to get canceled? And
Mhm.
it did.
Yeah.
So it's an intuition. And you've had an intuition. And then there are instincts, okay? You walk into a place
Mhm.
and the place is looking calm. Everything is in order. There is nothing to be scared of. You visually check everything. Everything is fine. There is not a single person who has said or done anything which is doubtful. And suddenly your whole body has this tension. I need to get out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
That's instinct. For some reason, your body has measured and tapped onto a certain frequency in that place, which
Mhm.
is unsafe to you. And intuition later, intellect later. Why did I feel that? Maybe it was just an illusion. Maybe it was just me confused. No, no, your body didn't lie to you. It was an instinct to get out of it. So run first, ask questions later.
Yeah.
So quite often it's quite mixed up. And in the initial years, especially when someone has just starting with the spiritual journey, it's very difficult to discern whether it is your subconscious mind playing tricks on you, whether it is really someone from the outer realm trying to communicate with you, or is it you who are consciously traveling to some other plane, being fully aware that you're traveling, and also entertaining the whispering sounds of the universe, which is trying to guide you in its own way. Initially, it can be confusing,
Mm-hmm.
but as one advances through the journey, it's crystal clear.
Mm.
It's crystal clear. Um, in my experience, to give you the experience, of course, as a childhood, I've had those dreams in which now I know it was not a dreaming, it was me astral traveling, where I would know how my tomorrow is gonna be. The school bus is gonna break down. I'm gonna go to school. This particular teacher is gonna be absent. This particular child is gonna get scolded. This is how I'm gonna get hurt. And the question papers, the exam patterns, what's gonna happen the next day and the next day and the next day. I would know it. And the day would feel like deja vu.
Mm.
And it's that boring. If you already know what's gonna happen, there's no fun in letting it. But this is my experience. So then I'm incredibly bored for the whole day. And I'm like, thank God it stopped happening as I grew up because I really don't want to go through it. The same motions all over again. That's what I was doing when I was sleeping. So that point of time, of course, I did not know. But now as we progress, at least as how I progressed, how I know that universe was talking to me was like in its own subtle way. Like, for example, I very categorically remember this thing. In my food business, one of the days I was having a really hard time. And it was one of those days, you were like, okay, I don't want to do this
Mm-hmm.
business any longer. This is way too much stress. And I don't want to be stuck into this entrepreneur, solopreneur mode. This is not what I signed up for. I wish I could just go back to being a child. And, I miss my childhood days and stuff like that. One of the days when you're having a total meltdown and you just want to escape reality.
True. Right.
And my childhood is anchored into this mulberry tree. There was this tree which was in our neighbor's yard. It was a very beautiful mulberry tree. And every summer it will have a whole, bloom of fruits, mulberries. And I have so much of fun memories that all the children, we would just jump around on the mulberry tree, just trying to snatch who's going to have the maximum count of it. We would shake the whole tree up. I mean, everything in my childhood has been centered around that mulberry tree. And every time I think about my childhood, that nostalgia hits me. If I want to be that child again, I want to go back to that mulberry tree.
Yeah.
And that particular day, I was coming back from some place near my office. That was one road I would frequently travel. It was between my office and my bank. So I was traveling to the office for some documentation. I was walking. It was walking distance. And in that particular moment, in the middle of the meltdown, I wish I could be child again. There, I saw it. On the bush, next to my building, office building, out in the wild was growing a mulberry tree, which had mulberries on it. And it was the road I had traveled at least 500 times in the last 5 years. I never saw a mulberry tree in that tree.
Yeah.
And in that moment, it was like the tree whispered to me, I'm still here, just like your childhood.
Mm. Yeah.
Life is always talking. Life is always talking. It's just that we are somewhere else. We just never pay attention. But if you pay attention to it, and in that moment, and like, of course, we being healers, we do time travel constantly. So that particular night, I had this dream that I wanted to go back and visit that mulberry tree, and I had that dream that that particular tree, it was kind of like chopped down, and it was perhaps not fruiting any longer. But there, I saw it like an old friend.
That must be so nostalgic, Radula. So nostalgic because
It's yeah, and it felt complete within, that it's still a part of me.
exactly.
So I've had tons and tons of episodes. Like 2, 3 years back, I currently stay in Pune, and there was like this huge rainstorm,
Mm.
and there was a very big tree inside our home complex. It fell. And I was very devastated. I had this very strong connection with nature and especially with trees.
Okay.
And one of the trees fell. And it was a scene of cacophony. There was a nest inside that tree, and it fell off, and there were eggs inside of manna. They were broken, and the bird parents, they were in cacophony. There was a lot of huge hue and cry, and it was really sad thing to see such a beautiful, lush green. It had this emerald colored leaves. It just fell to the ground. And I was very heartbroken. I looked at that tree, and for 5 minutes, I was kind of, in confusion and in deliberation. Should I call the fire brigade? Will they come? Should I call some tree restoration company? I don't know if they are if they do even such services exist. Should I go and do something? Should I call the crane? Should I call the this? I mean, this was a deliberation going in my head. And in that particular moment, I somehow felt that, okay, let me first at least give energy to the tree, that at least the energy should be fine. And I just started to, do the healing, and I started to pass symbols on that particular tree. And I mean, it's such a beautiful, I mean, it was so bizarre moment for me in that moment, because I was the one who was not able to let go of the tree. And it was symbolic that there are so many things in our life that we are not ready to let go. We're so attached even to the old suitcases, to the books that are sitting in our shelves, to the clothes we have not used for over 10 years, to the bags we don't even know we own. We are so overly attached to everything, we just cannot let it go. And here was this tree, the moment I gave its energy, I saw it like a packets, like a bubbles of light. They were completely, coming out of it, flowing out of it towards the sky. And it was like the tree felt, and I felt his tree's words in my ears. It said, I have had a long, beautiful, glorious life. I would now want to transfer my belongings to someone else to live on to. And very gracefully it exited.
Mm.
And that moment was such a release that in that particular moment, I realized that, everything has been talking and been coexisting with us. That one tree's absence created a void in my life.
Mm.
So I think all of us, we understand that one of the days we were sad, and that particular day, the parrot came
Oh, wow. Okay.
on the grill. One particular day, I felt okay. I mean, I was on the Instagram, and I was reading the science of spiritual connection about spirit guides. And one of the spirit guides was like butterfly. And I was like, okay, I have been on such a long spiritual journey. I have never felt a single spirit guide come to me. And in 1 hour, I had 3 butterflies on my window.
Wow.
Now, what do you want to call? Life is talking to me, and I'm also talking to life.
Right.
So, if you can get yourself to the level in your spiritual journey where, you know, I mean, where you and your life and everything around you, it merges. And you no longer have a distinction whether you thought today should be a good day or whether it was actually gonna be a good day and you had a premonition, it will cease to exist. There is no room for intuition, intellectual, or instinct. There is no compartmentalization. It's like one cohesive unit.
Mm.
That's how when the rain falls in one corner of the earth, you can feel the temperature up till here. You can smell the seasons which are months away.
Yeah.
You can feel the chill on your cheeks or maybe the sunlight kissing your lips much before the sun has come out. Your bodies, I think we all of us, we are so connected. We are so much connected to the biorhythm, to who we are, that it all syncs up. It all syncs up. And any difficult day, if you have in your lifetime, some people, they have more affinity towards rain, like rain washes away all their problems. And some people have more affinity towards shattering trees or maybe, birds or bees that give them messages.
Yeah.
Like even in our Hindu culture, we have this tradition that once someone passes away, always the crow goes to the next
Yes.
neighbor and to give a message.
Yes.
And anyone who has lost someone ever in their life would tell you that yes, they've had that moment. Maybe they didn't pay attention to it that much. But of course, there was a crow that particular day, which is quite uncharacteristic.
No, my mother had mentioned this to me. When my maternal grandfather he passed away,
Hmm.
until till this time she keeps on mentioning it, especially when
Hmm.
on his death anniversary or whenever we talk about him, she keeps
Hmm.
mentioning about this.
I think it is mentioned in the scriptures as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had so many kinds of tryst with ants, with insects, with trees, with whispers that I can hear in general. That you walk into a place and you suddenly start hearing the whispers. It is an etheric whisper. No one else can hear it, and you hear all kind of stories which are lurking around you. Some are just plain gossip, especially if it comes to trees. Like once I was talking to this tree. It was outside one of the neighbor's house. And
Okay.
I just passed energy because I felt the tree looked dried. So I thought maybe it's too hot and maybe the tree is not able to handle it. Let me give it some energy. And then it started with all kind of gossip. The trees are biggest chatterboxes. If you plant one inside your home, they actually know everything that's happening. And that is how, you can start talking to them. And there was once this particular episode with one of the kadi patta tree that I have in my home. So earlier we were in Mumbai and that particular pot of the kadi patta, it was placed on the corner of the balcony. And Mumbai doesn't really have balconies. All we have are flower beds. So that particular spot, every time it would rain, there was a shaft above it, and the tree, that particular pot would end up with a lot of water collected inside it, which was drowning actually.
Mm.
So, but there was not enough space. So every time it would rain, the water would be collected for a couple of days. Then I would upturn it, remove the water. It will be sorted. But the result of it was for the 2 days, for the 2 years, 3 years, the size of the tree never grew.
Okay.
Then we shipped it to Pune. I said, okay, fine, let me collect back all my stuff. And a lot of pots we gave away, but some of them we carried back to Pune. This
Mm-hmm.
particular tree, it refused to grow. So one day I sat down. And I was giving it energy. And that is when the whole complaining started. You put me in one corner and there was always so much of water in my this thing pot and you never gave me space and this and that. Oh my God, I had to apologize so much to that tree.
Oh God.
So I
Oh.
apologized. I said, I'm sorry, there was not enough space. Now there's a lot of space. You can see it's an indoor balcony and there are a lot of space. You can grow and there are a lot of trees with you for company. You're not even alone. I would want you to let the bygones be bygones. And I gave its energy. I changed its entire complaint mode into a growing mode by giving certain bands of energy. And then after it grew, and then you know what happened? I had to travel for 20 days someplace. And I came back and I saw this tree, which was stuck for like 2.5, 3 years, it grew 12 inches in 20 days and it had flowering on the top of it. I said, oh my God. And I just walked into the balcony and the tree was jumping. You know how the dog wags its tail? It was like, "Dee." I was like, oh my God, you've grown so much. So, of course, you can talk to plants and trees and you can listen to the whispers, the cosmic whispers. You can hear your own thoughts, and a lot of them will have that cosmic inner guidance, that higher guidance. And I mean, life is a playground. Listen and team up to the right people.
Yes.
So I do feel, we are constantly being watched and we are constantly being guided into resolving the issues within us and to sync up to the frequency. Because if it's like a whole piece of puzzle, we are part of it. If we are out of sorts, then the puzzle we do not fit into the puzzle and the puzzle is incomplete. Means if I am incomplete, I am out of sorts, then the whole universe is out of sorts.
I agree. I agree with you. And it's also I think it's very interesting because we often expect signs to be gentle or beautiful, or we kind of force it upon us, or maybe the nature or the surroundings to be very calm. But sometimes they do show up as
Jarring.
or yeah, confrontation or endings. Yeah.
So yeah, there are a lot of people like there's so when I teach healing to students, I always tell them after you take healing initiations, there is always a healing period, which is also called as a healing crisis period. So usually people feel that healing is all about beautiful things, connections, because these are experiences I share even in my healing classes, and students are looking forward to such kind of beautiful experiences, unique experiences. And one of the student got back to me, said, you said it will be all so nice. And yesterday, 3 dogs chased me. I'm so shit scared of the dogs. And then I got into the auto and the auto broke down. And as I was getting out, my phone got broken. I said, okay, all of this is part of healing crisis. Now you tell me what exactly happened. She said, I'm so shit scared of dogs. I don't know why will dogs chase me.
Mhm.
I said, yeah. So what was life trying to teach you? So I don't know. I said, of course, life was trying to teach you to grow up and find a different way to deal with the things that scare you.
Hmm.
But if the dogs are gonna chase me all the time, how will I? I said, because one point of time you will give up being so fearful. You'll be like, what the hell, man? Let me deal with it. Said, why the auto got broken? I said, were you in a lot of hurry? Yeah, I was running away from dogs. I said, so same thing, you were trying to escape.
Hmm.
You were not supposed to escape. That's why the auto broke down. So why did my mobile got broken as I was getting out? I said, maybe you were in too much hurry. Yes, I was in too much hurry. I was already late for my office. I said, so if you keep on missing life like this, if you refuse to interact with it, if you refuse to learn from it, if you refuse to learn the lessons it's trying to give you, it is gonna put hurdles or blocks in your way in an attempt to slow you down so that you can be given the lessons you need.
Hmm.
So the same student of mine, she came up after 21 days, and this time she was visibly different. She said, you know what? I have been so much running away and caught up in this whole loop of I want to get it perfect, I want to get it right, that in order to chase just one aspect of my life, I have ended up being alienated or not paying attention to other areas of my life, ineffectively scarring them.
Hmm.
And that was a pattern. That was a pattern in her life. Every time everything happens which she is scared of, which she doesn't want to deal with, it's uncomfortable, she would run away.
Hmm.
So sometimes, not sometimes, all the times, there is a lesson in it. Of course, exact same opposite could also be true for someone else. If
Mhm.
someone else is getting chased by the dogs, maybe for that particular person, that lesson could be entirely in something else that you need to love dogs. You don't know. So the same experience could have two different teachings but the experience is same. So
Hmm.
though on the outside it may look jarring, it may look extreme, it may look fearful, but in reality, universe is always in the favor of expansion. Now you may call it growth pains, you may call it healing crisis, you may call it being unfair, but this is what it is. You cannot escape it.
That is true. That is 100% true, Mridula. We cannot escape it. And when we talk about everything being alive, now I want to bring in a bit of the aspect of intellect here,
Hmm.
and especially from a point of skepticism. I mean, the skepticism will say that this is all poetic, but it's
Mm-hmm.
practical. So what is the most tangible everyday way we experience this truth in our own life?
Of intellect?
Yeah, like around understanding the nudges from our universe. uh, I think that many of our listeners will say I have too much going on in my life. I don't have that time, that liberty, or that privilege to even understand the nudges from.
I really don't think anyone has any privilege to escape the signs, which are really just really pasted on your face. If at all you were planning to take a right turn because you were running late for a meeting and forgot some reason, for the reason you don't even know, you ended up taking a left turn. Or you kept on thinking about it, maybe I should take a left turn, and you didn't. And then eventually you took the right turn, and you got stuck in a traffic. You would have found yourself thinking, oh God, had I listened to myself, and maybe I should have taken the left turn. Maybe you wanted to call someone, and that thought crossed you a couple of times, very, very strongly, a lot of times. And 2 days later, you find a news that this person is no longer there.
Mm.
Haven't had that happen, that you would just be kicking yourself that, had I just listened to myself.
Yeah, it has. It has happened.
A lot of times you're trying to go someplace, everything is picture perfect. We have all packed all our tickets, our passports, our money, the cab is booked. And for some godforsaken reason, uh, there is a red light. The car doesn't have a petrol. It got stopped by a policeman. Then the road was blocked, and then something else happened, and there were series of issues. And by the time you reached to the airport, you ended up missing your flight. And you know what happened? The flight crashed.
Mm.
We cannot assume that we are bigger than the universe, or we are so blind. We do not have any option of being blind. I think life finds a way to talk to you.
Yes, definitely. 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 I mean, um, I think so many events have happened. I'm even not able to list down all of them. But time and time, I have realized this, that
Mhm.
there is something, the universe, or there's something, some kind of energy which is definitely guiding me, and I should listen. I should listen to it. I should.
That's when the intellect interferes.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, intellect is kind of like a ego. Ego in spiritual language means past knowledge. So, if my past knowledge teaches me, like I have read science, so called science, and everything is matter, and there is a concept of everything is soul.
Mm-hmm.
So my mind is quite hinged upon measuring everything by my eyes
Yeah.
and my ears and everything which is tangible. So if one day I'm having this hunch and I'm taught to reason everything, and that reasoning must always be within the scale of the science,
Mm-hmm.
and the scale of the science is pretty limited. Okay. So if at all one day I'm having this sudden urge and some energy that I feel that is moving me and is trying to take me to, let's say, a temple I've never visited in my life. I'm having flashes of those temples in every movie that I'm seeing. I keep on seeing the same temple. I talk to someone, and that person brings up exactly the similar kind of temple they have visited. And oh my God, it was so divine. And this keeps on happening for 2 days, 3 days, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 5 weeks. And you keep on saying it's just a coincidence, it's just an intellect. It is just this and just that. What's going to happen? And
Um, I I have dreams. And this may sound crazy. I don't know, but it's from the last year. I mean, I have had multiple dreams where I'm seeing the temple, and I'm not a very religiously active person. So, but this temple, it is connected with multiple of my childhood experiences where I energetically, kind of felt the presence of God. Um, sometimes, you feel uh, that kind of wave of energy within you when you look into the eyes of the idol or the God, when you hear the chants and the mantras in there. And I have had multiple dreams about this temple, and I knew that I had to visit. I had to visit. It's a call. It's a sign that I need to visit. However, when I went to that particular place and I tried to visit temple, I tried I tried twice, like two attempts, but I could never make it due to some or the other reason, maybe because of health issues or because of the weather or something. And that guilt has been there since that time within me, that I need to fulfill this wish. I need to complete that dream. I need to listen to that signal. I need to visit.
so tell me one thing, Sana, just out of curiosity, I'm asking. So there are two parts to it. One
Mm.
thing, most of the people don't even pay attention to these things
Oh.
and they discard it. And eventually, when you do not listen to these sounds and these whispers,
Mm.
they become more and more, sometimes they become more and more muted. And if you really have a really powerful guardian, and if you try to discard these sounds, if you try to intellectualize or shut them off, they may become more like they become 10 times in their volume.
Mm.
Depends.
Mm.
But most of the times we start listening to these voices, we start having these visions because we need them. So if you can go back to that moment where, to that duration where you were having such kind of dreams, were you in any kind of emotionally or distressing or on the verge of certain bigger breakthrough wherein you needed those blessings? You needed a guide. Or
Absolutely. Absolutely. And something, there was some tough times my family was facing, and I was trying to help them.
hmm.
And those were really some, especially from a father's health perspective, very
Hmm.
very tough times. So, um, I believe, because of that, sometimes I've really really very strong and very crystal clear dreams where I'm seeing people whom I know, or my family, my loved ones, or places from my childhood.
Hmm.
Yeah.
They come to us to reassure their presence, to tell us, like that mulberry tree, I'm still here, I'm still part of you.
Yeah.
So these are not coincidences. These are synchronicities that we are all in sync with each other, with the universe, with our collected past, even the stories sometimes which my mother has told me from her childhood, even they have had stayed with me for such a long point that they have been a source of comfort and sometimes discomfort. And
Yes.
so much they are tightly wound in our neurology, in our ancestral codes, that these
Mhm.
stories are passed on from one point to another. Even the simplest of things that, in Indian culture, we say that if you're having sweets, don't go outside. Otherwise, you may get attacked by ghosts.
Yeah.
But then, in one of those sensitive days, you will realize, okay, someone is lurking beside me.
Mm.
So, of course, everything is connected and everybody is talking sometimes all at once. So, yeah, you have to pick and choose. You have to see the context. Is it trying to help me? Is it a cue to something, or is it just for entertainment purposes? Or is it something that I need to include and take an advice from? Or should I just better stay away from it? Because a lot of times, a lot of ill-intentioned people, ill-intentioned advices, and even sometimes a mixed signal comes. Has it
Mm.
ever happened with you?
Yeah, yeah. It has, it has.
So sometimes you're going and they're trying to make a deal, and just before that deal, something will break, like a glass in your house. Somehow you'll end up misplacing something, or like that Suran Pine who ended up getting the phone cracked. And you start feeling, okay, am I getting delayed on purpose? Am I not supposed to be reaching on time for that meeting? Am I not supposed to go and sign that deal? Is it that? Or is it the universe is trying to test me? Is it trying to throw hurdles along my way so that, it needs to know that I'm ready for it? Or am I being protected? Like, I'm very confused. Sometimes the things are like that also.
Yeah, absolutely. And this, I'm not a very, so, again, once again, if intellect would come into the picture, people will call, these are superstitions. I do not believe into these, the superstitions, but specifically you mentioned about breaking glass. I don't, it
Mm,
has happened every time. If I am breaking a glass or something, kind of falls and breaks,
mm,
something bad will happen, or some kind of um, change will happen. It recently happened like 2 months back. That,
mm,
I broke two glass bottles, and there have I experienced some major changes in terms of relocating to a, um, to another place where I couldn't stay there for longer. Um, some, very tough times, uh,
mm.
personally. So it has happened. I don't know why, but I don't.
So
Yeah.
energetically, actually, it's quite opposite. Energetically, we believe that the glass is very fragile. Actually, it's not so fragile. It's pretty tough, the glass. But if at all, there was something negative which was trying to attack, harm, or was lurking, and if the glass is breaking, that means the glass's endurance capacity has taken it. That is the energy exchange that has happened. So it took the part of negative energy, it broke down, and that much energy is gone, shattered. In a way, it took the hit on itself.
Okay.
So you were protected. Of course, we don't know if there was much more of the energy left or was it the total hit that the glass got. But it is only an indication that something was there which was lurking in terms of the energy, I'm saying. There was a negativity in the space. Glass took the hit and the energy got transferred. And that's it. It's over. Most of the times it's over. And sometimes if it is continuously on, you will have more signs into that place. Maybe, people will fall sick. You will have plants dying. You will have, if you have pets, they will
But
be in distress.
exactly. This has happened, Mridula. I mean, it's good that you brought up. I had two pet rabbits.
Hmm.
Um, they were healthy, like baby rabbits.
Hmm.
Just for 1 week, they were all good. But the eighth day, suddenly one of the pet rabbit, she died. I mean, it was a really, really painful death, and that was the worst day in my life, Mridula, because that was just around Diwali. Uh,
Hmm.
and I was planning to go, visit Jaipur.
Hmm.
One night before my train was scheduled, the
Hmm.
puppet died in my hand, and it was that one last, like a scream, a shriek that she died,
Hmm.
left the earthly,
Hmm.
that was the worst time. I mean, if I could have missed my train, I wasn't even that state of mind that I should go and just board the train. But somehow it all worked out, and then the another pet rabbit, because rabbits, they are known to thrive when they're together,
Hmm.
or in like herds. So the another pet rabbit also, he died. So it felt like there was some kind of negative energy that they took away in order to
Yeah.
me. Because at that time I was going through a layoff. It was just right after pandemic. And,
Hmm.
I was informed that I'm going to get laid off, and I couldn't communicate that to my parents, and I was like in a state of shock.
Hmm.
So yeah, this has happened.
So, see, any place or any being, if they are being energetically hampered, it is a ripple effect. So, let's say you were in a state of shock and the pets were yours and they were energetically connected on you. Then obviously they ended up taking whatever their body could reach as a maximum.
Yeah.
And in these kind of situations, and there are many, there are plenty, we have to have energetic tools. Like even if you're not a healer, if you're not someone who has an access to maybe let's say simple basic or advanced healings, whatever, then also you can always do certain practices to cleanse out spaces, like even a burning a camphor with
Mm.
bay leaves, with an intention to clear out space, to ask for guidance. Everything depends on intention. The energy flows as the intention goes. So if you will ask for guidance, the guidance will come. If you'll ask for protection, the protection will come. If you ask for change of thoughts, so that you can find another job and you can do the things that you really love doing and make a wealthy, make an abundant living, then the energy will shift according to your ask. Nature's life is always listening, so be careful with your words and always have a proper ask. And a lot of times we have this misconception, why will we be given what we want? It's too much to ask. It's not right. It's not fair. We should first deserve, then desire. All of this is kind of bullshit, okay? All of us are same. All of us have our own unique journeys. And if a desire has come to you, it has only come to you because it was meant for you. Not everybody has desire to climb Mount Everest or go to Mars. A couple of people have that.
Mm.
Not everybody will feel like, okay, let me go write a novel of this kind. No, it's unique to that person. So always, when even the basic energy cleanses is even, putting salt in the water and doing a floor mopping with that, even
Mm.
that will change your energy. Even lighting up a candle by the evening, that will change up your energy. So it's a conscious living. How you keep connected to the universe, which is abundant with infinite core of energy, is entirely up to you. Let
Yeah,
no one else take hit for my bad mood, my dark thoughts.
exactly. And with that, Mridula, I also want to open a door into something you had
Mhm.
said in our previous conversation around paranormal experiences. Now, for some, it's just too far out. For others, it's kind of the missing piece that makes sense of everything. And the interesting part of paranormal experience is it the one who has experienced, they will believe in that. The one who never experienced, they find it all bullshit and woo woo. And
Yeah, yeah, true, true.
do you have any story or any moment from your journey where you have had like a paranormal experience?
Yeah, yeah. So, see, I'm someone who has always been very energetically sensitive. Okay. And these are the words which have come quite later into my dictionary where I know energetically sensitive means what. Otherwise, as a child, even as an adult, I was always just sensitive, which means if there was something, I would only get spooked. If something is disturbing me, I may get into a state of overwhelm. Okay. So,
Mm.
when I was in class 10th, that was the first time I actually got initiated into Reiki practices, and I went 2 levels. And nobody told me, like, our master, he took the class in a group, and the way he inducted the whole session, it was always very light and nice, and he never gave any start warnings or any heads up for anything. He said, okay, fine, Reiki will take you wherever it needs to take you. And those were the days I was very much deeper into spiritual because I had a very strong connection with energy. And it took me into a place where every day I was visiting temple, which was at that point of time a little unusual for someone who is a 10th class student, okay, to go to temple religiously every day without being told by anyone. So that
Huh.
was how I was going. And my aura at that point of time had reached a level that I would walk from closer, not even closer, like I would walk through a bush and the bush will shake from the energy that my body was exhibiting. And I had no idea all of this was happening. Okay. So being connected with energy means that your own thought process, it goes to the next level. You are not focused on who you are, how much of energy, how much of power you have. No. It is more about what kind of high you're experiencing, and you are just so immersed in the experience that you fail to notice, at least in my case, that what was happening around.
Mhm.
And we used to stay in a building on the top floor, and on the top of it, there was a terrace. So in my family, the terrace was used for it by everyone. And after dinner, I went up, and suddenly, in one moment, I felt that, I'm being watched.
Okay.
And the moment I turned, I saw a face. And I almost, I think my body left my soul left my body for a second because that is how much I was scared. So I was like, oh shit, like, what is this? And then I blinked twice and nothing was there. It was plain air. I said, okay, must be illusion of some sort.
Mhm.
And then I turned, and then, I was hanging, my hands were dangling from the railing,
Okay.
and suddenly a bat came and it nestled in my palms.
Oh.
Immediately. I mean, one moment I just turn around, I see someone, I almost like got super panic and I blinked. There was nothing there. I said, okay, it's fine. I turned around, I just put my hands like this on the railing, and then bat came inside and sat on my hand. That was it. Okay, I just ran back. I said, okay, maybe today is some full moon day or there is some day, I don't know what's happening. And then followed a series of very strange things. Like in the house, I would always feel I'm being watched. The air was heavy, like
Mhm.
someone is standing here. And I would have these sounds which nobody else could hear. So I thought maybe I'm going a little crazy, or maybe something I have watched or heard on TV or news or whatever is playing in my head. Maybe it's some horror movie that is playing in my head. But it kept on getting worse. Like it got so worse to the point that I had to involve my parents. I said, "See, someone is here. Someone is here." In the middle of the night, I would just be shaken up. I would just wake up and I would feel that someone is there.
Okay.
So these kind of things kept on happening. And then I had to tell my father, I said, this is always happening. I was really scared. I was a class 10 student and I had no idea why all of these things were happening to me. And in my head, I was like, Master had told me that if you do Reiki, then all these ghosts, they run away. And here I am being chased by one. And I couldn't understand any of it. My father, he went to one of the peer and fakir, and he got one water bottle which had these incantation written in Urdu or I think Arabic. It had this paper inside of it. And he made
Okay.
me drink that water and it was all fine. Okay, everything got settled.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, okay, that was just one bad breed. Let's forget it.
Okay.
I chucked it off. And then 2 years back, that is almost about 20 years later, it recurred.
Oh.
And I knew it was the same face. It was the same face and it was still lurking. And this time, 2 years back, I had undergone a very huge frequency upgrade. Like in Reiki, there are a lot of levels. There are a lot of different kind of energies you can get initiated into. All of them have their own challenges. But after I went through a particular attunement, it was then that particular thing kept on chasing me. Like I was woken up by a deep pain in my solar plexus in one of the night. I was in very deep sleep. I think I was in such a deep sleep that I didn't even know what was trying to wake me up. And as I gradually came out from my sleep, I realized that my solar plexus is literally going off in pain like an alarm clock sounding. And then I saw it in my third eye. There was this demonic entity and it had this smell, of that rotten flesh. Like it had this very bitter kind of a, soupy smell and this rotten, like, rotten flesh kind of a thing. It was really bad. Even the face was very horrific. And I would have dismissed it, okay, as one of my imagination. But the way I was woken up from such a deep sleep that I was pulled out of it, and then my solar plexus was throbbing with pain, and what I saw, and then I had a dialogue with it. And it was in that moment everything clicked and it made sense that what had happened 20 years back as well. Like when you are going too high on a frequency. Now, all of these entities, they are also creatures. Like as we are creatures, trees are creatures, these are also creatures. Like there are good people, there are also bad people. But the same way, there are demons and there are ghosts and there are ghouls. There are a lot of different categories of it at different frequency levels. Now, all the creatures in the cycle of evolution want to jump up a scale, which means in the 84,000 lakh of birth and death cycle, there is a hierarchy. Like, for example, insects are lower and animals are higher, and highest is considered as humans in the physical realm. Even in the ghostly realm, there are ghosts and there are ghouls and there are demons and there are devils. Like, there are categories. Everybody wants to consume energy to jump up to the next level. The eternal salvation, we want to jump out of the cycle, but then also sometimes you have to jump up the scale. Both of these two times, both of these entities, or maybe the same or similar entities, they had come because they recognized I'm someone who is too empathetic, extremely sympathetic, and I could be lured into helping them so that they can use my energy and latch on to my light
Yeah.
and go higher.
Mm.
And as a rule, never, never, ever give any healing to anything dark. Never. Especially the ones which are trying to chase you, are trying to engage in a conversation, or trying to please you, trying to show you the benefits or manipulate. So this particular time, I handled it my way.
Okay.
I didn't have any access to peel, and whatever energy I had, it was not enough to dispel such a powerful force. So Reiki this time the masters who live beyond the realm, they connected me to a guide. I went there for a meditation camp. And there that entity appeared and it got pushed like blasted out.
Mm.
And since then on, I've been closely associated with that particular organization, though I do not very actively participate in the spiritual practices. But I know for a fact that it was not a coincidence that I landed up there in 5 days, not even knowing why I'm here. So I'm pretty sure that, life is still guiding us through everything. And then I connected out to a variety of other people, and they told me the same thing, that, the way this particular entity was trying to manipulate me stemmed on from my own need of giving sympathy, being empathetic to the needy ones. And this is how this particular entity was posing as. So even in such a so-called negative interaction, there was still a lesson which I needed to unlock. It was always to protect myself and always knowing that even though there are people or entities that may need help, it is not my duty to help everyone.
Mm.
And to let go of that ego that this is demon and this is ghoul and this is that. It is just ego, okay? The the world is not binary like black and white. It exists in spectra.
Yes, yes.
So just the way we are humans in the body, like we are souls in the human body, there are also souls without the body. It is part of the nature. So let's not discriminate. We are all one. So in that sense, anyone who has any kind of dispute that, I have never felt anything and the ghosts do not exist and this does not happen. Of course, there are a lot of recommendations that I can give you that go here and experience it and experience that. But in nutshell, you're just being ignorant. Just because you haven't experienced it yet, that doesn't mean that it doesn't exist.
True. I agree. I agree with you. And one, you know, so many questions coming to my mind, Vidula. I mean, um, uh, was there any reason behind, for the first time when you were in class, um,
Yeah.
yeah, did you try to understand, or maybe when you informed your father, was there any, uh, you know, did you try to understand why am I seeing this entity, whether it's because of the house or some history attached to this location or something?
No, no, no. See, sometimes you walk into a place and the place has an energy latched onto it. Okay. So let's say you walk into a haunted house, you go into a cemetery, you go into cremation grounds. That is where you will feel the energy which is attached to that place, which means if you walk out of that place, you will no longer feel that.
Yeah.
And sometimes you feel energy which is latched, which is a being trying to reach out to you.
Hmm.
In both the times, it was the being which was trying to reach out to me. First time I felt I was going crazy because it was not trying to deliberately ask, like it did not initiate a dialogue to the level that I could even understand what was a dialogue about. So I had no idea. I only wanted to get rid of it. The second time, now I can walk into a place and I know what is the history, geography, biography of that place.
Okay.
Okay. So now this time I knew how I attracted it myself. Every time you say, let's say, for example, there are all these kind of sayings, do not cross a crossroad, especially on certain days because ghost visits it. Now, all of these things are symbolic. What does that crossroad represent? It represents the intersection of the two realms. And there are days in which the veil between the visible and the invisible is pretty thin. And there can be a very easy crossover. Okay. So let's say 20 people cross over from that particular spot, all of them claiming, I do not believe in all such nonsense. But only one person gets latched on by someone, by some entity. Why?
Because they do believe, they're energetically active. They do believe in the presence of the invisible, entities as well.
No, all of them could be claiming that I do not want any such thing. But let's say the psychological composition of the person who got latched on was on this side. Just hear the thoughts. I'm someone who is always disrespected. I have no power. Everybody keeps on walking from on me. Only if I had enough power in the world, then I will show to everyone what kind of person am I. Now this person is vulnerable. Why? This person is asking for power.
Yes.
So one entity understand the psychological loophole of this person, and this person wants the power so bad that it can do anything to get that power. Now you have created that loophole within your own thought. So then the energy can come and it can enter your body because you have asked for it.
Mm. Mm.
So we are all transmitters, okay? If we are going to transmit this kind of thoughts and this kind of energy from our body, then if you put the honey out, the bees are gonna come. It's like that. So more than whatever people are aware of their conscious thought, I don't believe in this, I don't believe in that. The energy will tell a completely different story. And it is always the energy which is going to attract, repel, or decide how your life is going to turn out to be. Not necessarily what you think you know. So even in my case, the pattern that I was displaying at the second time, even the first time, the pattern was same that I was overly sympathetic to people who were broken,
Okay.
and I would nurture them back to the health, not like taking physical care of them, but also emotionally. The broken, defeated people who have given up, people who have challenges and problems. So I had the pattern of attracting such kind of people in my life. And this is an open loophole. So if I'm willing to give out my energy to nurture back people, it is me sending out the invitations.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. And can these energetic or paranormal moments can they play a role in emotional healing? For example, when we are dealing with grief, trauma, or loss of a
Hmm.
loved.
Um, See, lot of times I have seen when, specifically for grief healing, when people have their loved ones abruptly, taken away from them. Uh, During those times, I always find that, in part of the astral world, they are still there trying to have a conversation and trying to have a closure. Even the person who is still in the mortal world is also astrally traveling in the night, looking for that person to talk, though they may not be aware consciously. In those cases, a lot of times, if there are astral messages, because the soul moves on, but a lot of times there is an energy message which is still parked in the ether that can be retrieved, that can come in the form of
Mhm.
in your life. You may have some kind of a lucid dreaming kind of a situation. Anything may happen in that moment, which can allow you to heal or to have a closure. But it's not necessary. And that is not just the only way. Like I've also had people, uh, so there's a ritual we do. It's a shamanistic ritual in which parts of you come out and they seal back. So if there is a part of you, like for example, if I feel I'm my mother,
Mhm.
then from within me, a mother looking kind of a person may emerge. Someone I was holding on so tight, and they may get released. Like that, there are a lot of ways, visually, energetically, on different astral planes, a lot of phenomena may happen. But you have to see structurally, all of them are trying to awaken you. And it is up to you to connect the dots to find your own breakthrough.
Yeah.
So if you get spooked because you found a ghost, okay, it's an experience. But
Mhm.
if you are spooked that you found a ghost, then you also learn not to go in some place, not to have a certain thought, not to do a certain thing, which made the ghost come to you. That's a learning.
Mm. And as you mentioned about this, I I have had some of my friends, kind of jokingly talk about doing these rituals, and
Hmm.
like the Ouija board or the Bloody Mary legend. It's not
Hmm.
joking in a funny way, but I personally believe that we shouldn't take risks when it comes to these practices. I mean, even if they are not as much as effective, or they may not be proven or something like that, but let's not.
They are proven and they are effective. And if you play Blanchard like we are board, then
Mhm.
you are opening a portal.
Mm.
And it is nothing less than a prayer. Okay. When you are praying to a rock, which is shaped like a certain idol,
Mhm.
logically speaking, you are praying to a rock. And if you look at the mantra, the chant, a lot of times the mantra is saying, it is always name of this deity. And you are saying their name in the spirit of, either saying namaskar or anything.
Yeah.
And that's it. And if you change the name and put a devil's name to it, energy goes where energy flows where intention goes. If you'll call out to the God will come. If you call out to the spirit will come. If you call out to the devil will come. So be careful of your thoughts and what comes out of your way. The life is always listening. And all of these things that we avoid, the Bloody Mary, everything is effective. And you don't even need to do such an elaborate procedure to invoke someone. Like
Mm.
when we do healing, we also have an invocation, which is formal healing prayer, in which we request for the presence of all the gods, deities, Reiki masters, Reiki energies to be there for this particular healing. And you can see it in your third eye. Everyone you call out to, they are present. And sometimes more entities who know they need to come, like the gods and goddesses and angels and guardian angels. So all of these things, be careful. Like if you're gonna, it's not about being superstitious. It is being about energetically aligned. Because a lot of times you may do all of these things, but you don't really mean it. Like your intention is not there. So particular day, it will not work. And next particular moment, you have full intention of invoking them. You have not even said it, and there they are.
Mm.
So I don't think, I personally feel that, people need to be more educated and more aware about their own power, about their own connection. They need to be more in sync with everything around them. And when you can feel, when you can see the invisible, when you can hear the words which are not spoken out, when you can feel things which perhaps are illusionary, that is when, you can understand the connection is still there. And then use your intellect in the order, in the right way, to decipher and leverage all of them for your next round of evolution. This is
Exactly.
how I think.
That definitely makes sense for this. Definitely. Ah, wow. This was amazing, amazing, Mridula. Um, I mean, personally, for me, this was such a raw and such an insightful discussion. Whether it's around energy or healing, or trying to understand the bridge between seen and the unseen. I think overall, I believe um, the universe's whispers, they feel undeniable, and you know we are a part of our universe. We are not bigger than the universe. So I think this was really a much needed conversation. So thank you so much. All the
Thank you, Sana, for having me over. And thank you for being such a wonderful listener and, going through the whole charade.
uh, I love it. And what I strongly believe, and I would like to share this with all of my listeners, is listening to the universe. It isn't escaping reality, but it's about seeing it more fully. And
Mhm.
every sound, every moment, every person, they could be a part of a conversation that's been happening with us all along. So, Mridula, if our listeners they would like to connect with you, what would be the best way?
So we do have a every Saturday night group healing calls, which are very minimal charge. They can come over there. They can connect with me on one-to-one basis for calendar meetings. We have a link for that. So, of course, you can find me through my website, iheawake.com. It has all the resources. Many ways you can reach out to me and start your own journey.
Awesome. Awesome. I'll make sure to have all the links in the show notes. And to all the listeners, thank you for devoting your time to listen to this podcast. And until then, this is your host, Sana, signing off from Cosmic Conference. Thank you.